Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is KJ speaking, and today I'm super excited to share with you guys how to write a band 7 in IELTS writing task 1. Today's topic is line graph. So now let's begin. To begin with, let's have a quick look at an action plan. Here, there are 3 steps. Step 1, task and data analysis. Step 2, data classification. Step 3, writing. All of these steps I'm gonna detail one by one later. So now let's move on. Now let's move to the action plan. As previously mentioned, there are 6 steps to follow. First and foremost is step 1. Task and data analysis, which is the pre-writing stage. Let's have a look at the exercise. For timescale in a movement data, because it measures between 2005 and 2014. So the time that might be used here are past simple and past perfect. Turning to subject of data, it's about annual income. Next is type of chart. It's a line graph. Concerning unit here is in $1,000. Then regarding the number of chart, there is one given chart. Regarding axis, abscissa or horizontal axis represent year, ordinate or vertical axis represent annual income. Lastly is the legend. There are 4 legends here, restaurant A to restaurant D. Alright, let's proceed to the next step. Step 2, data classification. There are 3 crucial items here, trend, grouping, and exception. First of all, trend. Trend are the general image that tell the reader what happened to the chart in general. In the exercise, the trend is restaurant A and C had markedly declined, while B and D had steadily inclined. Turning to grouping. Grouping means the way that we categorize all similar or relevant elements into one group or category. In the exercise, we classify the earning into 3 periods, 2005 to 2008, 2008 to 2010, and 2010 to 2014. The first is the rising trend in restaurant B and D. The second is the rising trend in restaurant B and D, and fluctuating trend in restaurant A and C. The third is the rising trend in restaurant B and D, and the decreasing trend in restaurant A and C. Finally, the exception. The exception refers to all things that are out of group or different from others in the group. In the exercise, there are 2 exceptions in the first period, when earning in restaurant A appear fluctuating while increasing in restaurant C. Well, let's move to the next step. Step 3, writing. Here I divided the writing task into 4 sections. Introduction, trend, feature, and summary. First, let's begin with the introduction. To utilize time efficiently, your introduction should be merely a paraphrase of the question. Please keep it short and precise. Let's learn how to write a straightforward introduction altogether. The question is, the line graph below shows information about annual income earned by 4 various restaurants from 2005 to 2014. So how did I paraphrase this? I paraphrase it as the graph details yearly revenue in restaurant A to D between 2005 and 2014. As you see, I employ other words that still maintain an identical meaning to the question. For example, I use the word graph instead of line graph. I use the word detail instead of show. I use the word yearly revenue instead of annual income. Then I use the word restaurant A to D instead of 4 various restaurants. And finally, I use the word between 2005 and 2014 instead of from 2005 to 2014. So one takeaway from this section is paraphrase is a key to score a high band. Alright, now let's move to trend. Trend are what the chart shows in general. Let's have a look at my general trend. Overall, over this year, annual income in restaurant A and C had experienced a remarkable downward trend, while those in restaurant B and D had a constant upward one. Look, I firstly use the opening overall and over this year to cover what's going on with the chart in general. Then I presented two different groups, the decreasing trend in restaurant A and C and the rising trend in restaurant B and D. This is such a well-rounded coverage because it covers an entire image of the chart over year. Next, main feature. Here are some strategies to deal with line graph. First, you should begin the description with the early period. In the exercise, I first kick off the description with the year 2005. Second, you should present data from most to least significant orderly. In the exercise in 2005, I may go through restaurant C, A, B, and D serially. Third, you should divide the time into a small span period. In the exercise, I divided 3 time span. First, from 2005 to 2008. Second, from 2008 to 2010. And third, from 2010 to 2014. Lastly, you should identify grouping and exception in each period. In the exercise, in the first period, there is a rising trend in both restaurant B and D, and exception in restaurant A as it appears fluctuating, and in restaurant C as it appears decreasing. In the second period, there are two groups, rising trend in restaurant B and D, and fluctuating trend in restaurant A and C. In the third period, there are two groups, rising trend in restaurant B and D, and decreasing trend in restaurant A and C. The first main feature is the year 2005. Firstly, I use a clear opening in 2005 to inform the reader which data I refer to. Then I presented data from highest to lowest orderly. As you can see, I describe from $600,000 in restaurant C all the way to $150,000 in restaurant D. One takeaway from this section is to begin the description with the early period by starting from highest to lowest figure. The second main feature is the 2005 to 2008 period. In this period, I first describe the rising trend in restaurant B and D by starting with restaurant B first because it had higher value before proceeding to restaurant D. Then I move on to the other two restaurants which show reverse trend, decreasing for restaurant C and fluctuating for restaurant A. Remarkably, I employ an abundance of vocabulary and sentence connector to describe trend. The third main feature is the 2008 to 2010 period. In this period, I first started with the rising trend in restaurant B and D by indicating the rising figure by 2010. To describe restaurant D, I use sentence connector meanwhile and the opening sentence. Restaurant D had followed the analogy pattern to emphasize that restaurant D also had a rising trend over the same period as restaurant B. Finally, I describe the other reverse group of restaurant A and C by using a sentence connector conversely. The fourth main feature is the 2010 to 2014 period. You see, I initially started with the description of constant decreases in restaurant A and C. Then I move on to the other trend in restaurant B and D. Interestingly, there I pointed out that both restaurant B and D had similar trend till 2012. And after that, they show contrast pattern in the end, with declining for restaurant B and constant for restaurant D. One takeaway from this section is remember to show trend in each period. Finally, the last part of a report writing is a summary. In a report writing, if you fail to include trend earlier or the trend are not fully cover the general image of the given chart, you should utilize the summary section to recap the general trend of the given chart. Nonetheless, in this practice, since the general trend is clearly presented, it is not much worth writing a summary. Rather, you should utilize the remaining time to double-check grammatical error and sentence structure. Okay, now let's have a look at my full-length writing sample. Please pause the video to read it and identify how I approach this task effectively. Well, now it's time to recap all the takeaways from this video. First, task achievement. Never replicate the question, nor write less than word limit. Second, coherence and cohesion. 1. Divide the given period into a small span, so you are able to compare and contrast all feature figures where relevant. 2. In each span period, grouping comes first and exception comes next. 3. Remember to show trend in each period. Third, lexical resource. In an actual test, try to include at one vocabulary for writing task 1 as many as possible. As you might see my attempt in this practice, the following is a vocabulary list extracted from the practice test. Fourth, grammatical rate and accuracy. Be aware of tense use. Here we use past simple to present a past action at a certain point in the past time, while past perfect to describe action in a span period in the past. Well, now it's come to the end of the section. Thank you so much for watching. See you later.